Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to talk about the ammo shortage. I think most of us have experienced it, and most of us have been like, is this ever going to get back to normal? Well, I want to point out today that there is a little bit of a ray of light at the end of a very dark tunnel here. It appears a lot of manufacturers are getting back in the business of making ammo. Specifically, big manufacturers like Remington. They've started opening their plants back up. They are now producing. A lot of people wanted to blame, all the shortages are because of the hoarders. No, shortages this time weren't because of hoarders. Now, of course, they would have caused it like they normally do if they had the chance. They didn't have the chance this time. The shortage this time was just because production slowed down to almost nothing while more people bought guns and needed ammo to go in their guns. So demand actually went up for ammo for everyday people. More people wanted ammo, not just certain people hoarding it for profit or personal defense. But demand went up, supply went down. That's why we had this shortage. For once, it wasn't because of hoarders and profiteers. Well, like I said, there's a little ray of light at the end of the tunnel now. Remington's back open. Other companies that I know, even small companies like Minuteman Ammo, are producing ammo again because things are opening back up. The pandemic is waning. We're getting ready to open things back up, and as long as China doesn't release another deadly virus anytime soon, we should have production rolling again. Now, it isn't going to be immediate, because you got to remember, the manufacturers have to get the goods they need to make the rounds first, so they have to wait for other places to spin up, whoever provides them their copper or their steel or their whatever. They have to wait for them to ramp back up, start producing all the materials, get it shipped to them, and then they can start producing. So it is going to be like a trickle-up effect, but it's happening. That's the good thing. It's actually happening now. So we should be seeing a change. Now, some people, though, are afraid that it isn't going to change. The shortage is going to continue. That now we're going to have panic buyers and hoarders sucking up the market. And that's a possibility. Hoarders always do have a certain amount of effect on the market, but I don't think it's going to be a huge effect. There are going to be some people that hoard ammo, but that's always the case. And the market is kind of designed with those people built in. As ammo becomes more available, I do believe things are going to get back to normal. But a lot of people are afraid it's not going to happen, not just because of the hoarders and stuff, but because of statements like the vice president or whatever he is, CEO of Remington, who said, we're 3 years behind in orders. We've got 3 years of back orders. And a lot of people are saying, well, that means now that it's going to be 3 years before ammo even gets to the shelves because they got to fill these other orders first. Well, no. When they say they've got 3 years of back orders, what they mean is all these companies, the gun shops, the sporting goods stores, etc., the distributors have ordered enough ammo that would normally be 3 years worth of ammo that they need shipped to them. And they're going to have to fill those orders. Well, those orders are going to go to shelves. That's what they're for. The distributors aren't buying the ammo for themselves. These aren't private orders that are going to be shipped to people's residences as they make them. These are back orders from distributors. And once the distributors get them, they'll start sending them back out to the shelves. And there will be some mass buying when they start hitting the shelves because some people will want to catch up with their, stores or create stores when they didn't have them before. But most people are just going to go buy what they need. It's like saying, you went a year without something. If it starts becoming available again, you don't go out and buy every one of them you didn't use the past year. Let's say you drink 3 Pepsis a day and suddenly Pepsi goes out of production and you start drinking something else. And then Pepsi comes back into production a year later. Well, you don't go out and buy 3 times 365 bottles of Pepsi or cans of Pepsi just so that you can make up the ones you missed. No, you start again fresh. And that's the way most ammo buyers are going to do. They're going to go out and start buying what they need. They're not going to buy what they didn't shoot for the year and a half, 2 years that we were locked down. So once this spins up, once production starts catching up, once distributors get their orders filled, once it gets on the shelves, I think you're going to see a lot of things calm down fairly quickly. Like I say, it's not going to be immediate, but once it does start happening, it's going to be fairly quickly. And as far as all the back orders, etc., that's just ammo that's going into the pipeline, the distribution pipeline. That's not people who called Remington and says, I want 10 million rounds. And they're like, oh, we got to fill those first. No, it's distributors, it's stores. They'll be on the shelves of your gun shops, your sporting goods shops. And then it'll be up to us whether we act like fools and create a market, a bad market for ammo, which can discourage gun sales, or whether we act like reasonable people and buy what we need and buy some stores. It's always good to stay stocked up, but that's something you do a little bit at a time. I tell people always, every time you go to the gun store, if you don't find something to buy a box of ammo. Every time you buy one box you want to shoot, buy one box to save. That's the way to build up an ammo reserve. You don't need to go out and buy tons of it at once. And a lot of people don't have a lot of money to buy tons of it at once. So I'm not too worried about hoarders right now because their funds are limited. And plus, the last couple of rushes, really people went bankrupt on. I know lots of people who went out and bought, I didn't pay my mortgage for 2 months and I bought $8,000 worth of ARs and I'm going to resell them for $80,000. And then the market fell back down and they ended up having to sell them off for less than they bought them and put themselves in a financial bind. I've seen that happen with ammo buyers too. I know someone who bought tens of thousands of rounds of 9mm several years back, thinking that they were going to skyrocket, and in 10 years, each round would be worth like $10. And then they went back down. He ended up losing his house. He was a local gentleman. So I don't think hoarders are going to have a huge effect on the market once it's back into full swing because, like I say, a lot of those guys are already factored in. And like I say, all those back orders, they're not for individuals. They're for distributors. They're for companies. They're for getting onto the shelves for you and me. So once things start spooling back up, like it looks like it's happening, it's going to take a little while for it to step up to where it's full production. But once it is, we should be looking at ammo becoming available at fairly normal prices pretty soon because during the time off, we didn't really see a lot of inflation that was market driven. Now you saw a lot of hyperinflation, and you're going to see more hyperinflation in the market coming up based on just supply and demand, because as everything opens back up, well, it's going to take a while for supply to catch up. And as long as supply is behind demand, there's going to be inflation. But it's not actual inflation. It's actually just supply and demand. It's free market price rises. It's not cost of goods price rises. Ammo isn't going to cost more because the steel costs more, or the copper costs more, or the lead costs more, although lead's going up in cost. But there might be a small bit of that, but there shouldn't be much of that, much true inflation. But there will be, like I said, still be some inflation for a while demand catches up, or while supply catches up with demand. But once we level off, which shouldn't take that long if people don't panic, things should be back to relative normal relatively soon. All right, everybody, with that being said, I want to move on to my favorite part of the show, gun talk. And the first thing I want to say is, do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you? Well, if you're a Dirty Harry fan, well, you might consider yourself very lucky right now because one of Dirty Harry's favorite guns is back in production. And no, I'm not talking about the iconic 69 from Smith & Wesson, the 44 Magnum. I'm talking about his other favorite gun, the 44 Automag. Now, if you're not familiar with the Automag, this is a gun Dirty Harry carried. I believe it was in Sudden Impact, and it caught the eye of many a young gun lover out there, myself included. It was a very unique looking gun. Very cool gun. And it wasn't made for long, actually. I believe when they first went into production, they only produced them for like a year, and they only made like 3,000 actual guns. And then they went out of business because they drastically underpriced them when they sold them. I think they were like $200 and something retail at the time. I think their wholesale price was like $150 or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it was something like that. So they just couldn't produce them for what they were selling them for. They were losing money on every gun they sold, so they only made like 3,000 of them. And then there were some other companies that started back up and tried to open, the market again for them, started producing them again, but those were like, they just didn't work. They weren't good guns. None of them were actually good guns. I mean, they weren't the greatest gun in the world, but they were cool. So they made, several more thousand, but there's less than 10,000 of them around. I think it's less than 9,000 actually that were ever actually made. But now they're making them again. A new company has bought out all the rights and is producing the gun in a manner that it should have been produced before, making it a lot better quality. And by better quality, I'm hoping they mean it actually works, because that'd be nice that it actually works. Now, this gun is a stainless steel gun, I do believe, and it's chambered in 44 amp That's the Automag pistol cartridge. It's a very potent semi-automatic cartridge. Now the gun comes in an 8.5-inch barrel and a 6.5-inch barrel, which means one thing: the gun ain't really practical. It's not something you and I are going to carry. So as far as being a practical gun, that caliber's hard to find, and it's not cheap, and it's not common, and it's a really large and heavy gun. So as far as being a practical gun, if you're getting excited about that, you're not going to be excited about this gun. But I will say one thing: they have not made the mistake of their predecessors of underpricing the gun, because the gun's like $3,500 to $4,000 for each one of them. So hopefully they're making a profit on it this time. And that's why I'm saying hopefully this one will work if they're charging premium prices for it. I've heard good things. I've seen good things so far. But like I said, very expensive gun. That's not cheap. It'd be one thing if it was an expensive gun. I've paid that much for guns. But it's like custom 1911s, nice revolvers that I could actually carry and use if I wanted to. The Automag doesn't really fit into that, where you spend a lot of money for it. It's cool, but you can also still use it in a practical way. The Automag doesn't fall into any of that. So all those people out there, they're asking me, "Oh, are you really excited about this? You going to run out and get one?" The gun's not practical. The gun's very expensive. But of course I'm very excited about it. I don't care about those things. This is a gun I've wanted since I was a kid, practically. So yes, I do want one. Will I be able to afford one anytime soon? Probably not soon. I'm not going to be in one of those first buyer groups. And I don't do paid reviews, so I'm not going to be one of the ones they send it to. But I do want one because, like I said, it's Dirty Harry's gun. It's super cool. And now it's supposed to actually work. So it might be worth the money. If I ever get a chance to get my hands on one, I'll let you know more. But for those of you that were interested in the Automag, it's available now. I believe the 8.5-inch barrels are shipping, and the 6.5-inch barrels will be shipping soon. I would go with the 8.5-inch barrels. It's one of the rare times I go with the longer barrel. But because of the way this gun's set up, it's got a long body and a long grip. So the 8.5-inch barrel actually looks more balanced on this gun and looks more original on this gun, because I do believe it originally was an 8.5-inch barrel, if I remember correctly. So one of the few times I would go with the longer barrel over the shorter, because even with the 6.5-inch barrel, it's not going to be what you'd call a carryable gun. It'd be more carryable, but still wouldn't be my first choice. Might be my second, but wouldn't be my first. So the Automags are coming back. If you're a fan of Dirty Harry, give them a look. If you got deep pockets and you're someone who likes the cool guns, the new guns, or not the new, but the futuristic looking old guns, kind of what way I'd put this. So if you're excited about that kind of thing, take a look at the new Automags. If you like your guns to be affordable and practical, well then this one probably ain't for you. But it's for me if I can never get my hands on one. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today with our rescued pet of the day. And today's rescued pet is Bella. And Bella comes to us from John H. John H. Rescued Bella back in her early days. And according to John, Bella did not have an easy life at the beginning. She was covered with cigarette burns when they got her, which just goes to show you some people out there just need strangling. There's just some people that when people always say, all life is sacred or all life matters. No, all life does not matter. Some people, like I said, just need strangling. There should be laws about, yeah, they needed strangling. That's a good defense. But in this case, it looks like she lucked out eventually. She found a great owner. She's living a good life. As you can see here, she looks very happy. He says she's a very happy girl. Although, I don't know if she looks so happy in this picture. She kind of looks back at him like, are you kidding me? Because I think it looks like maybe she's on crotch guard duty or something there, which is probably not the best part of her day. But I bet she has a pretty happy life overall. So I wanted to say congratulations to John H. for being a great guy and giving a dog in need a home. And like I said, not a manly dog. Looks like she's a Chihuahua mix. So John is obviously very secure with his masculinity. So congratulations to John for being a good human, and congratulations to Bella for finding her forever home where she won't be abused again and she will live the rest of her life loved. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I just want to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. But what it will be in the future if we continue to ignore the fearmongers and the profiteers and the propagandists who want to just manipulate us and control us and profit off of us. If we ignore those people, keep our heads about us, and fight smart and hard for the Second Amendment, what things will be in the very near future is better.